Not every crime leaves fingerprints. Some are born in code. Welcome to truecrime.exe, where fiction feels far too real.
They teach you that fires have signatures. The way flames lick upward from a point of origin. The way smoke settles into walls like bruises. At 12:11 a.m., May 9th, the alarm at Sakura Steps Hostel chirped once, hesitated, and only on the second punch of the panel did it begin to scream. By 12:20, 3 floors were smoke-sealed. By dawn, 5 people were dead. A 6-bed, rented by a 21-year-old American student named Eva Moran, was neatly made, the sheets missing, the window cracked an inch, as if to taste the night. Shinjuku does not stop for tragedy. The trains kept coming, the ramen steam drifted over Yasukunidori, and the neon wrote its looping arguments against the dark. But for a week, the alley behind the hostel smelled of solvent. Firefighters said that was imagination. People who lived there disagreed. The hostel. Sakura Steps occupied an old office shell, 4 floors of fiberboard partitions, metal bunk frames, a lobby desk with travel brochures in 6 languages. The book said cash preferred. The security cameras were supposed to copy to a cupboard DVR. On the morning after the fire, that cupboard gaped empty. A handwritten ledger remained, lines ripped out in 2 places. The night clerk, a graduate student named Miho, told investigators she'd punched the alarm panel at 12:11 when she smelled hot plastic. The siren didn't catch. She punched again. After that, she said, it was all smoke. The missing guest. Eva's bunk, 2nd floor, room 204, bed C, was registered for 3 nights. She had arrived with a camera case, a backpack, and a notebook filled with typed specimens, photographs of street signs, hand-painted menus, bus placards. She was in Tokyo for a typography project that never made it back to her professor in Minnesota. Her friends said she had a way of finding the quiet, odd corners of cities and making them feel like secrets held just for you. Her phone pinged at 12:16 near Shin-Okubo station, 3 blocks away. Then it died. That was the last the phone ever said. 2 fires. The Tokyo Fire Department drew its map with arrows, a stairwell trash can on the 1st floor, soaked in accelerant, an electrical closet on the 2nd that, according to city records, should have been locked out months before renovation. Dual origin, the report read. Human agency likely. Investigators found the trash can kicked, dented inward as if someone had tried to stamp out the flames. The closet's knob showed pry marks. The breaker levers had been taped into position with cloth athletic tape, the kind you buy at any pharmacy. Across the alley, a vending machine camera facing the service door caught 18 seconds at 12:07. A figure under a red umbrella, shoulders hunched, leaving with a quick, purposeful gait. The figure didn't look back. The timestamp had synced to the hostel's panel, off by a minute, give or take, but close enough to make a picture. Someone left before the sirens cried. The manager. The hostel's manager, Kenji Oka, mid-40s, thin and nasal, with a habit of pinching the bridge of his nose when he spoke, was due to meet police at 9 a.m. He never arrived. His bank card never pinged a commuter gate again. His lease went unpaid. His phone disconnected. His staff, to a person, called him careful and cheap, and one added scared of the wrong people, then refused to elaborate. A downstairs restaurant owner, who asked that we not use his name, said he'd seen Oka arguing with two men in the alley a week before the fire. Suits, he said, but not office suits. He mimed a tiny bow that ended hard, like a door shutting. The guest list. Of the 5 who died, 2 were long-term residents who'd paid cash for bunks while looking for work. 1 was a backpacker whose parents couldn't afford to fly his body home. The last 2 were a couple on a visa run, in Japan for exactly 48 hours, who had booked the cheapest beds they could before catching a morning flight to Taiwan. None had any link to Eva beyond proximity. Her bed told a different story. The mattress was cool to the touch when firefighters reached it. The sheets were missing. The window was cracked open by exactly 1 click of a stiff latch. On the sill, a soot print. Something square had rested there, then been lifted away. The lab said the residue carried a tracer plasticizer used in cheap camera cases. In a drain behind the building, crews found a blackened SD card in melted plastic. The city's forensic lab teased a single surviving file out of its shocked memory. A photo of a stairwell door slightly ajar, a hand in a black nitrile glove holding it. The timestamp read 12:05. The umbrella. It took a month for the red umbrella to resurface, sold for a handful of coins to a thrift shop in Suginami. The clerk remembered the seller, a man with a healed burn scar peeking from under his cuff. He had no receipt. He wanted cash. He joked that rainy season would make the umbrella priceless. The clerk laughed then. She doesn't now. There were no fingerprints. The fabric gave nothing. If the umbrella was the same, it had been handled by hands careful enough to leave no history. The pain of maybe. By the 3rd day after the fire, the alley was a campsite of grief. Friends brought flowers. Strangers brought convenience store coffee. The father of the backpacker who died sat on a plastic milk crate and told anyone who would listen about his son's first bicycle. He had chosen the hostel because the website showed a bookshelf in the lobby. He loved books, the father said. He would have liked that. Eva's parents arrived on the 4th day, Midwestern polite, eyes shattered, clinging to one idea like an axle, that their daughter had left the building before the worst. They asked to see the Shin-Okubo footage of their daughter alive in the city, even if only as a moving dot on a cell tower map. The detectives said they would try. They used the word maybe so gently, it sounded like mercy. Theories. 3 theories fought in the precinct and online. The debt fire. Okay, harassed by creditors or worse, staged a small blaze to trigger an insurance claim and let it run. He fled under a red umbrella and took the hard drives with him. But Oka was not a man who liked chances. It begged belief that he'd risk 5 lives for a payout that might never clear. The protection fire. Someone higher up the food chain punished a missed payment with a warning wrapped in flame. It would explain why a closet, with no business being live, lit up as if waiting for a signal. It might also explain a manager's vanishing. It explained nothing about Eva, the witness. Eva saw something. Cash changing hands, a door where there shouldn't be one, a face that wanted not to be seen, and someone removed her. The 2nd floor window led to a rusted fire escape that emptied into the service alley. No camera covered the angle you'd need to see a small person slip out and down. People in the hall. 2 surviving guests told a story that refused to settle. They had returned from Golden Guy at 11:40, weaving and giddy, and paused in the hallway to take a selfie in front of a mural. In the reflection of the glass, they noticed a third figure behind them, tall, head down, passing without shoes. One swore the man wore gloves, their memories dirty with smoke and fear. But the detail harmonizes with the nitrile glove in the photograph. Miho, the clerk, remembered something else. A door on the ground floor propped with a rolled towel an hour before the fire. She kicked it free, scolded a guest for leaving it, and kept moving. In the footage that didn't survive, perhaps you could have watched that towel roll forward again. Perhaps someone picked it up. Shin-Okubo. If Eva walked to Shin-Okubo station at 12:16, she had barely 8 minutes to get out of the building, cross a block and a half, and pass into a cellular shadow where prepaid phones and old handsets disappear into the static of millions. Street cameras along the way yielded nothing usable. One convenience store camera captured a flashlight beam skittering across the sidewalk at 12:13, then cutting away. On the edge of the frame, briefly, a red canopy bobbed in rain mist. Her friends traced her favorite routes: the sign paint shops, the alley with the blue graffiti script, the bakery whose window lettering she'd photographed because the R curls like a cattail. In her notebook, on the page before the night of the fire, she had written a list. Shinjuku Sanchome, pillar posters, torn edges. Shin-Okubo, plastic menu letters, faded. Alley, behind Sakura Steps. Stencil, service only, crooked. That last one matters only because the stencil was new. Someone had painted it the week before. The paint was still tacky to the touch. The man under the tracks. Weeks later, the police chased a rumor down to the Cho line, where a commuter said a man who looked like Oka slept under a bridge with a community of others who had left their names behind. By the time officers got there, municipal bulldozers had cleaned the encampment. Shoelaces and a single slipper lay in a flattened square where a bed had been. The city apologized for the timing. The apology sounded like a cough. A stringer photographer found a woman willing to talk. She said a man with a scar on his wrist had come through days before, asking for cheap gloves. What the fire said. Fires leave fingerprints, but they also erase. The lab mapped heat vectors, smoke stain heights, char patterns. The trash can's rim had a lip of melted plastic that suggested a pour, not a toss. The closet's live wires had been rigged into a loop that would re-energize when a door closed. Someone's idea of a clever trick. The most stubborn fact remained the simplest. Eva's bed was cold, and the window had tasted the night. Her SD card showed a gloved hand holding a door. Her phone died near Shin-Okubo at 12:16. Beyond that, the city swallowed her. After. The hostel changed its name. New lights, new drywall, a framed certificate promising everything was up to code. Tourists came back. The alley grew new smells. In May each year, Eva's parents fly in anyway. They stand at the corner where the umbrella was last seen, and they talk to the air. On a message board where night shift clerks trade advice about drunks and bedbugs and people who won't stop asking for a quiet room. Someone wrote, "If the alarm doesn't scream when you hit it again." Someone else added, "And if a girl with a camera says the door was open when it should be shut, believe her." There are things the fire could not tell us. What the person under the umbrella felt leaving, whether Oka knew which of his choices had caught flame, whether Eva ran for help or ran from it. The vending machine camera shows the red canopy bobbing and then gone. The drain held onto a memory long enough to spit up a single picture of a gloved hand in a doorway. The city has moved on, as cities must. The alley remembers different. When it rains, people who live there still swear the scent of solvent returns.
Case closed. Archived in the synthetic vault. If you dare to return, the next file awaits. truecrime.exe. The line between fiction and fear.